Oh, we're going to slam dunk for The Mandalorian. Another one. They are actively looking to undo The Rise of Skywalker, which actively went against the original trilogy. It makes perfect sense, regardless of whether you think that they are actively going against The Rise of Skywalker or they are actively just looking to follow the original trilogy. It doesn't matter. The end result's basically the same. They're undoing The Rise of Skywalker, which makes sense, because why would you look to follow, one, a trilogy which was not very widely well received. Secondly, you know, something which went against the original trilogy anyway. The Mandalorian, we know, is looking to really be set in that original vibe, that whole original trilogy. The setting's the same, the tone's the same. They're looking to really get back to the ground basics. So I like this. I think this is great. This article is linked down below, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to check it out, please do. Before we do that, I just want to say, hey, we're getting really close to hitting the target for my second film. It is a Lovecraft horror film. It's a psychological horror which explores mental health, suicide, and depression. A very prevalent issue in men, something which I feel should be explored, at least to get people discussing it a little bit more. So, check it out. The GoFundMe is linked down below. Would mean the world to me if you could just chuck in a buck or two. Preferably two, but just one's fine. Let's dive into it, right? So, the Mandalorian animation director Hal Hickel recently implied that the premiere episode of The Mandalorian Season 2 is undoing The Rise of Skywalker. Now, again, it's whether you say that they're undoing it specifically or they're just looking to follow the original. It doesn't matter. The end result's the same. Obviously, one has some, I guess, intent behind it, and the other doesn't. But the end result's still the same. During The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1, The Marshal, an astute fan discovered that during the flashback scene showing the destruction of the second Death Star, the text around the exploding Death Star reads, "Little does Luke know that the Galactic Empire has secretly begun construction on a new armoured space station, even more powerful than the first dreaded Death Star." How awesome is that? How cool is that? What a great little Easter egg. Yeah, that's what was down there. Like, who would have spied that? I mean, obviously, clearly someone did. But yeah, and someone obviously that says, you know, it's straight out of the Return of the Jedi Crawl. And here it is. Makes perfect sense. That's so cool. I love... This is the depth they go to for fun and to keep it like Easter eggs. You know that it's made more by fans than the other stuff is. A fan rightly pointed out that this was from the opening crawl of Return of the Jedi, and the fan would then inquire as to why and how the text was used to both Lucasfilm creative art manager Phil Sostak and Lucasfilm Story Group member Matt Martin. So here's, you know, him just saying it there. And then we've got a reply saying that's undoubtedly an ILM VFX element, so I'm sure the text is just there as a fun Easter egg. Isn't it funny that basically the art manager for Lucasfilm didn't even know, or is at least alluding to the fact that he's basically saying, I didn't know it was there. That's undoubtedly an element, and I'm sure the text is just there as a fun Easter egg. So it's like, oh hey, yeah, please answer this. Like, for God's sake. And Hickel seemingly confirmed Sostak's claims with a simple yep, as in like, yep, it's a fun Easter egg. I put it there. Cool. Another fan would then ask, who filmed the Death Star blowing up, and how come there's no debris left, but there's some debris left over in The Rise of Skywalker? And this is what we get to, right? So Hickel then responded, dunno who filmed it, and as for the second question, it looks that way because we were matching Jedi. So really, yeah, no, we didn't want to. We're not following on from that. We're following on from Jedi. This is set between. You know, this is set after Jedi, so we're following on from Jedi. Like, of course, we're going to match it to a T. And if indeed they are matching the Return of the Jedi, then that would imply that the second Death Star was completely destroyed in space, and there were no parts left to crash on Kef Bir in The Rise of Skywalker. Twitter user Stephen Wayne Art would point this out, writing, "You were matching Return of the Jedi, but you contradicted The Rise of Skywalker. Was that intentional?" And Hickel has not replied. But the implication's there. And this is the thing, like, it's, yeah. It is there. Like, of course. And I think that's what everyone... That was everyone's thought anyway when we saw this clip. Everyone was like, it blew into a billion pieces. What you on about? Like, what is going on here? We saw it. We saw the bazillion pieces. Like, what? Why? And that's one of those... It didn't make any goddamn sense. Anyway, while the implication that the Mandalorian might be undoing the events of The Rise of Skywalker is welcome news, the actual inclusion of the opening crawl to Return of the Jedi and the video footage of the Death Star being blown up provides its own problems. First off, the inclusion of the opening crawl doesn't make sense from an actual story point, because the opening crawl is for the audience, it is not for the characters in the actual story. However, the news story is there for the people of the pub in Mos Pelgo to read and see. They are now reading the opening crawl. Second, the crawl makes no sense in the actual news report of the second Death Star being blown up, because it's actually depicting the second Death Star being blown up. Why would this news footage be informing galactic citizens about the construction of the second Death Star while showing footage of it being blown up? It doesn't make sense. Well, yeah, but again, it's just clearly just a fun Easter egg. They've already said that. This is why, like, when people are like, oh, yeah, Alien and Blade Runner are connected. They're not. They're owned by separate studios. They're just fun Easter eggs thrown in because the directors can. So yeah, it is literally just a fun Easter egg. There's not really much point in looking too far into it. Outside of the fact that there's no debris and they're taking it directly from that one we can look at, right? That comment of, well, we are following Jedi. That's something which you can, that's concrete. You can actually look at that. Finally, who was actually recording the footage of the Death Star being blown up? Was it the Emperor? It's possible. Can you imagine? Oh, a little maggot boy flying through space with a camera. Oh, I'll film this before I cast my spirit into a, another maggot-like clone. God damn it. Unbelievable. This shit just never gets old. It's just... Boom! Wow, great shot! Like, what? Another possible theory is that it's footage from the Rebel Alliance. However, that theory runs into its own problems. How are they able to broadcast that message when the Empire is still in control over most of the galaxy through their regional governors? Well, probably like a subspace frequency, I would imagine. A third theory could even be it's some kind of independent film crew. Are people really thinking this? Oh my god. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? Like, they're all just chilling on Endor. And they're like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Just, having some chicken or something like that. So, I don't know, some blue space jizz milk. And they're like, yeah. Oh my god. We've got to blast off into space. Get this shot real quick. Scramble. And then they fly off into space to get the shot. It's just bloody ridiculous, isn't it? Unbelievable. Oh, dear, oh, dear. But look, this is the fun element of films and being a fan, is like dissecting it and like ripping it apart in universe. I always like that. But this stuff is concrete, right? All the rest of it is just needless conjecture. But this is concrete. Don't know who filmed it. As for the second question, it looks that way because we were matching Jedi. That stuff matters. That's the point that matters. We're purposely trying to match Jedi. We're not purposely trying to match anything new. We're directly going to the original trilogy for inspiration and continuity's sake. That makes perfect sense. That is the stuff that we pay attention to. So what do you guys think of this? Good news? Bad news? Do you like The Mandalorian? Do you dislike it? I personally love The Mandalorian. I really, really do. I reviewed the first season very, very positively. I've got reviews of season 2 out already. And I review it every single week here on the channel, so please do check it out and hit subscribe. Also, for returning subscribers, please check your subscribe, because YouTube's doing something really weird at the moment. And turn your bell notifications on, so even if you subscribe, you won't get notified. You've got to check that this... YouTube's so dumb. I'll hit subscribe, but I don't want to be notified. That's how they treat you. So you've got to hit subscribe, turn the bell notifications on. You've got to set it to all if you want to be updated on this. The world's entering into lockdowns. What else you got to do? Watch some of my videos. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. I've been Mr. H. Take care.